It's getting a little bit busier here now. The stage is set up. You might just be able to see over to the camera right there. And we've got a number of people here as well, organisers from the various groups, including Care to Calais too. I'm actually joined now by Weyman Bennett. He's the Joint National Secretary of Stand Up to Racism. Weyman, thanks so much for joining me. Why is this protest taking place today, and why outside the Home Office?
We're doing it because we believe that politics has been poisoned in Britain. Instead of refugees being treated in a humane way, they're being treated as a catastrophic problem when actually they're a relatively minority problem, and Britain takes a minority of the refugees across the world. And we believe that immigration is being pumped up as an issue to misdirect the British population to say that the crisis in the NHS, the crisis in our transport system, or the crisis in our education is not due to underinvestment, it's due to refugees, and particularly actually black refugees or Muslim refugees. Because if you're a refugee from Ukraine, you make a plan of how to get here, and there's an agreement of how you get to plan here. And what we're arguing for is that safe passage plan should be allowed, rather than a manufactured crisis of refusing to deal when people apply for refugees status and treat them in a reasonable way.
Reading through some of the literature for today, urging people to come down and support this event outside the Home Office, it gave the impression that you believe that people who are concerned about illegal migration are predominantly racist. Is that correct?
Well, no, what we're saying is that racism is being mobilised in order to misdirect people from dealing with real problems. See, the war in Ukraine, nobody would say the war in Ukraine is caused by people simply wanting to exploit Britain. In fact, because people want that war in that way, they're prepared to be involved in that. That's a good war. But places like the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan are old wars in which places were blown up and then people seek some kind of sanctuary afterwards. Even Bennett, who used to be the head of the British Army, said that many of the interpreters who they were supposed to give sanctuary to haven't been given sanctuary to. And what we say is that that should be an organised process. At the moment, the government has no organised process, has organised chaos, and then says, look at these small boats arriving. This is the biggest problem that Britain faces.
So some of the rhetoric you feel is incendiary and panders. I've read it to the far right, as some organisations would put it. But in terms of solutions and practicality, what can be done if people shouldn't be housed in hotels, if people shouldn't be housed on former military bases, if people shouldn't be housed on barges? Where should they be housed? Should people be welcoming them into their own homes?
You know, at the end of the Second World War, we took more refugees on after Britain had been broken and destroyed, and that's the reason why it took migrant workers. Planned safe passage, planned places for people to go stops a crisis. The government is enjoying this crisis. There was not a crisis around Ukraine refugees.
So the Ukrainian refugees are obviously welcomed into people's homes. Where should these refugees, should they go? Would you welcome a migrant into your home?
Listen, I've helped migrants in my own home, I've helped other people, but let's be absolutely honest about it. The government's playing on the fact that some of the refugees are black and Muslim, right? And blue-eyed, blonde-haired people from Ukraine, that's fine, yeah? People that are not looking like that, there's the whole things that's not said in between. They're a threat. They're presented as criminals, right? It's not true. When Einstein ran away from the Nazis, right, it's true that the Daily Mail presented Jewish people escaping from the Nazis as being criminals, as being rapists, as being thieves, right? That's actually true, and it's a disgrace.
But right? Do you not think that people would be able to get on board with protests such as yours and organisations such as the 18 that have helped to plan today if they weren't being told that their legitimate concerns were just racism?
No, but what are the legitimate concerns? The legitimate concerns are, the question are, firstly, they're told that all you have to do is rock up and you'll be given a house. Rock up and you'll push everybody out the way and you'll go to the first in the front of the NHQ. Those are blatant lies. So why is the government saying blatant lies? Because instead of saying to people, we are not giving you proper NHS care because we cut the budget by 27%. Not somebody arriving in a boat did that. The British government did that. They said they were going to level up, but they leveled down, and now they want to blame refugees. So we're saying, why can't we have a grown-up discussion and said, we want to cut the budget by 27%, stop blaming refugees for that. And secondly, telling lies about migrant workers is dangerous. every ICU unit in this country, at least a quarter of the people working in them are migrant workers. That means if you want grandma to die this Christmas, then you get those workers not working there, and there's even less provision for people. So unless you start working out on a serious grown-up adult thing, you know, to be honest with you, the fact that our government has sent someone to a semi-fascist festival in Italy, you know, my grandfather was in El Alamein. He was told that Mussolini was a bad person and he had to pick up a rifle in order so that we could have democracy, yeah? Now I see my Prime Minister sitting down with somebody who says my derivative is Mussolini and it's a good thing. At what point can we not speak out and say, why are you blaming people who are refugees and why aren't you dealing with the real problems?
Weyman Bennett, thank you very much. Joint National Secretary of Stand Up to Racism.